And we are live. And welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. My name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher, here on social media. And what I do on Teaching Tip Tuesday is I help math teachers of struggling learners to effectively manage their classroom through classroom management and to increase student achievement. That would be through math instructional strategies, response to intervention, project-based learning, and technology integration, along with the foundational skill for classroom management, which brings it all together. And I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. And if you tune in every Tuesday night, thank you for being a part of my community. One of the things that I want to remind you, if you cannot catch me live and you're catching me on the replay and you're new and you're like, oh, how can I be a part of Teaching Tip Tuesday? You can catch me on my live stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can catch the replay. However, I got stuff all over my stuff over me. Um, however, you can catch me on YouTube every Tuesday night, and all of my Teaching Tip Tuesday videos are housed there. So if you search the Ignited Teacher on YouTube, I'm the only one. I'll come up in your feed and you can subscribe to my channel. So that's how you can get in, be a part of this at any given time. If you want to go back and see some of the past live streams, those are housed there as well. So I am very excited about tonight's topic, which problem solving is an issue with students across the board. I don't care what grade level you teach, at the students you teach, problem solving has always become an issue. Either it's problem solving because the students are struggling readers, or problem solving where the kids cannot go deep enough. It's never that just right thing. But tonight we're talking about problem solving with with predicting with evidence. Now you're probably saying, well, where did this come from? Well, it's a strategy that I created. I used to teach reading, and what I noticed is that over the years, I've been teaching, I'm going into my 21st year. And what I've noticed about students is that the longer I teach, the more difficulty I see with reading. And it's really weird because when I first started out, students were strong readers. One of the things that I see that is diminishing is the comprehension and the understanding and the level in which they understand problems and reading just in general. So what I've been doing, I've been doing other things in my classroom as a math interventionist. Yes, I still teach classes. I'm not out of the classroom, but I have started to bring more context in my classroom. So we watch CNN 10 every morning because math is all around us. So I don't understand this thing about, oh, we just do math problem. No, we talk about things in real time, in current events, things that happen. And to be honest with you, it makes your students better problem solvers. It does. It makes them better problem solvers when they have a wider view. And it's not really about, can they solve the problem? Can they connect with the problem? Which goes back to reading. And making predictions is a reading skill. Being able to analyze is a reading comprehension skill. And when students lack that skill and they're struggling readers, We as math teachers have to find a way to connect this for the students. And I'm going to start off with, okay, for some reason it stopped. Okay, so it picked up right back where it was. So, and then you gotta love technology. So here's a blog post that I wrote. Let me find it. It's called Predicting with Evidence. So this is on my blog. And I just talk about, how I used predicting with evidence, and it actually made my students' thinking a lot clearer. So if you look at this problem, and I use redraw right, which I'm going to talk more in depth about redraw right, and they have the problem. So they predict it. And the predicting part is where they have to predict what operation they're going to use. But they actually too have to tell me from the problem evidence that actually supports why they're multiplying or dividing, subtracting. But it helps me to see where the students were having trouble. And as you can see in this particular problem, the student made an error in thinking here, which made them have an error in the actual problem. So that's what predicting with evidence does for students. Now, back to read, draw, write. And you're probably asking, well, what is read, draw, write? Well, read, draw, write is a problem solving strategy in, let me see, um, that was, well, came about when Common Core was being implemented. And a lot of people um, were changing different things. And one of the good things that came out of Common Core was redraw right. I like it because it's broad enough to fit any strand of mathematics. And we're talking about geometry. It fit everything. Before that, I was using cubes. So you have the read part. And let me go here. Let me move over. And you have the read part, and redraw right doesn't come with any kind of instruction. So what I did is added what my students needed for redraw right. And at the top, we still circle, boxed, and underline. But what I had to do was create a connection for the students between the read part and the draw part. And now some people are like, well, you have to do a draw part and the draw part has to be a picture. That's not necessarily true. A draw part can be an algorithm, as you see in this picture. An algorithm is actually the abstract of the conceptual understanding of the problem or the picture of the problem. That's what an algorithm is. It's an abstract concept. So when we're talking about the draw part, it can be an algorithm. And what I used to do with my students and still do is to work the problem, you can either choose a algorithm or you can choose a picture, either one. Now, my higher level kids would always choose an algorithm. My other children that have not moved from the conceptual to the abstract, they generally would use an actual picture, which our goal is to move our kids from the conceptual, especially if they're moving in secondary, to the abstract. But what I tell teachers all the time, the kids move at their own pace, but you have to recognize where they are and get them to move from the concrete and conceptual part to the abstract. And what the way that you can do that is doing it side by side. So say for instance, you're converting fractions greater than 1, which was formerly known as improper fractions and mixed numbers. You can have them draw the picture, but also do the algorithm next to it, because one of the problems that we have in mathematics is that a lot of the kids are stuck at the conceptual level. Like even with fifth grade, when I was teaching fifth grade, I had kids who still were counting on their fingers and counting all. So you're talking about those counting principles. You count all, you count on, but some of the kids couldn't say, "Oh, I have 5 and I'm going to add 2 more." So 5, 6, 7. That is a conceptual issue because the kids can't visualize. I have fifth graders that were still doing 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a dead giveaway that your students have not moved to that in that draw part. So if you're looking for kids to do algorithms and they're still drawing pictures, it's a progression. If they are there, you're going to have to help them make the jump. Now, and that goes back to this predicting with evidence. So in this problem, it says Sophie and Eddie had a total of $580. After spending $80, Eddie had $240 left. How much money did Sophie have? Now, this is not a hard problem, and I'm not advocating for starting out the gate with harder problems. You scaffold it up. So you start with something real simple, make it more difficult, go to 2-step, and then get them to where they need to be. Well, in this problem, this student said that the details were 50 minus 8. That was his, what he was predicting. And then he said after spending, that's what told him that he was going to subtract that. And then the next part was 500 minus 200, which was how much money told him that he was going to subtract that. Now, I don't know if I agree with the how much money. I think he should have went more into detail. But as you can see, this was in 2015. And the students subtracted in the draw part. It says Sophie has $260 left. So, and it's that simple. So putting that connection, I call it a bridge, because we don't never know what the kids are thinking, and that prediction makes it come alive. It's just a T-chart. You can name it whatever you want to name it, but making them stop and think about why they're doing this or why they're subtracting. It's only 4 operations. And that's what I tell my students. It's only 4 operations. 2 of them are connected and the other 2 are connected. So a lot of times my 5th graders will get caught up with, they didn't know if they were supposed to add or multiply, because when in a word problem, adding and multiplication sounds the same. When my students got to 5th grade, they couldn't do repeated addition anymore. There you have a lot of kids, if you don't make them move from, and when they're capable of moving from repeated addition, that's 3rd grade. You have to make them move to where it's more effective, because here's the thing with problem solving. If you have 5th graders and they're still doing repeated addition, they'll never get the multiplication, because the word problems are created in a way where it forces them to recognize that they're doing multiplication. And that goes back to the conceptual understanding. And if you're making them predict, you're going to see that they don't have it. That is going to be a problem with them because they're not going to have anything in this T chart. And even if they do, it's not going to make sense. So, this will give you a starting point if you're trying to support your kid, your tier 2, tier 3 students in your math intervention groups. It will make this come alive if you put that prediction there. Make them predict. Predicting is something that they do in reading all the time. It's the text plus background knowledge, which makes you help. Well, it's an inference, and it's the same thing with predictions. If you're going to infer, you have to have some background knowledge to even make an inference, and plus what the text is saying. So you take that understanding and you apply it to math to help support those kids to make that jump to where they can actually come up with a problem solving strategy and determine what they're supposed to do, especially with two-step problems, because a lot of the students, they start at that one step, they never make it to the second step, and God forbid it's the third and the fourth. And that's what I'm dealing with at the high school level. The kids stop because they don't recognize they're supposed to go on. So, predicting with evidence is just helping your students bridge the gaps from that read part and jumping to what am I going to do? How am I going to solve the problem? It basically answers that question. So, I am launching a new product, and it's called Problem Solving with Redraw Right. It will be out on this weekend. So I'm launching this weekend, and what it does is it talks about this predicting with evidence. And I also have something in there new called, some people see, think, wonder. I have see, connect, think, and wonder, because that connection is that bridge that I have in the predicting with evidence. That's what's in there. And I walk you through the steps of redraw right, teach you how to solve or help your students solve with redraw right. And this will be out for this weekend. So if you're on my email list, definitely be on the lookout for that, because it's going to be a game changer. I had one teacher who was saying that she was teaching fourth grade at the time, and she said her school had a problem solving strategy. And she said as soon as she started using the strategy that I had, she said the kids got the problem solving instantly. That's without any help from me. So if you want to, you can read my blog post. I have, I think, a couple of articles on there about problem solving. I have another one coming out talking about connecting reading to math, to help support our struggling readers and students that are struggling with just comprehension in general. So, thank you for being a part of Teaching Tip Tuesday. Like I said at the beginning of the live stream, I'm here every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you can't catch me on the replay or live, you can always hop over to YouTube, search for The Ignited Teacher. And if you're watching me on YouTube, definitely go ahead and hit the like button if you like this content, and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified when I upload new videos or go live. So that's all I have for you all for Teaching Tip Tuesday, and I'll see you all next week in my live stream.